Hey, creative ones, it's Melissa D'Antoni. Welcome to my new live video series. I'm so excited about this. I actually just got the inspiration and the calling to do it a couple days ago. And really it was seasonal. You know, I was thinking about how right now during Halloween and All Souls, hey Nick, yeah, if you're here, say hello. And let me know, talk to me about what's coming up for you around what I'm sharing and around, hey Kim, around, this whole series. I'm super excited about it. So I got the idea because, it's Halloween. We're coming up on All Souls Day, All Saints Day on November 1st, in the, Mexican tradition of the Day of the Dead, which is one of my favorite celebrations of our ancestors, and just in terms of cultural celebrations, it's one of my favorite creative expressions of that holiday. And the Gaelic tradition of Samhain too, which is traditionally, it was a harvest time and also a time to do ceremony, to do this deep work around the celebration and the clearing of any kind of, pain or patterns, and really celebrating and receiving the gifts of our lineage and our ancestry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Hey, Kim. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but that's really where the inspiration came from to do this series. And on November 1st, I'm going to be doing a live training. It's going to be a ceremony. We're going to do a family karmic clearing and release. Typically in my programs, we do clearings on the family line, the feminine line for women, and the financial line, but we're just going to do family in celebration of our ancestors and of this really rich and potent time where the veils are thin to do this deep soul work. And that's what it is. It is deep soul work to support you in liberating yourself from the past, from old painful patterns, so that you can really claim the gifts of your ancestry, right? Super powerful. And I'm going to talk a little bit. So each day I'm going to take a different, I've been doing this for a while, for a couple of years now, with people individually and in groups. And I'm very passionate about the generational wounds and working with the family patterns that get passed down, because I think we're at such a potent time to break these cycles and to evolve beyond them. And I think it's up to each one of us to take responsibility for our own energy, our own legacy, our own creativity, and free ourselves from the past and the past stories and the past traumas that, without blame or shame or guilt, that our ancestors might not have had the resources. Hey, Melissa, the resources to heal the wounds or evolve or deal or process the pain for whatever reason. And if you're watching this now, you're being called because you have the resources, you have the tools, you have the consciousness to shift that and really claim the gifts. And it's really deep, potent, powerful work. So each day I'm going to take a pattern that I see that comes up in the collective in our families. And this is not just unique to one family. This is like, everyone has this opportunity right now if you choose to take it, right? So each day I'm going to pick a family karmic pattern that I see that may show up as dis-ease or some type of expression, painful pattern, and talk about its roots, talk about why it's showing up, what are some of the beliefs, the emotions, why we have collectively been stuck in these patterns, and this stuff gets passed down because we haven't had the tools and the appropriate medicine, if you will, to really, and the beliefs, honestly, and the fact that we can change it, we can break the cycles. So I'm going to be doing that every day for the next 7 days. I'm super excited. And then if you're inspired and you want to join me on November 1st, we're going to do a private virtual karmic alchemy process on the family line. That includes ceremony, it includes creative expression, it includes, there's some writing and then some movement to really release these patterns from within our own psyche down to our DNA and cellular level so that you can free yourself. And if you're feeling blocked in any way, usually there's some sort of family karmic imprint that is blocking your creative expression and your creative potential from moving forward in your life. And it's deeply subconscious, right? It's deeply, deeply subconscious. And so when we invite that in and the willingness to shift it, it actually can shift pretty quickly. So if you've done tons of therapy and you've done, I was talking to a friend and client last night in California who's done like a ton of family constellations, which I think is great too. Those are always great setups for doing this work. And I find, because we work on all the dimensions, using paint, using transformative art, using ceremony, it shifts very, very quickly. And it doesn't have to be super painful. It can be playful. We're going to make this fun. We're going to make it creative. And you can have a quantum shift with this work if you choose. Yeah, I know I certainly have. So let's talk about heart disease. So one of the patterns that shows up consistently, and I mean, raise your hand if you have heart disease in your family line. I know I do. Let's talk about what's going on at the root. I really like to refer to Louise Hay. She talks about heart disease in her, I think it's, she has a glossary. If you Google it, Louise Hay, heart disease, it'll probably come up. But she talks about the metaphysical root of heart disease is, the heart is the center of love and security. It's really, that's true, of course, right? Iconically. But it's also where we process all of our emotion, right? We process our emotion at the level of the heart. And if we have any trauma at the heart level, which, is part of the human experience, who doesn't? So again, there's like no shame around this. And it's really important that you reclaim through processing and releasing any pain, reclaim the power of your own heart, your own love, through purifying your heart and really almost like pumping energy back into it, reclaiming its full capacity. But at the root of like heart attack is, she talks about it being squeezing out love and joy for money or status. That's why we see so much, right? That's been a big focus of our culture, at least here in the Western world. Where that has been a priority over joy, over love. We've made money and status and material things a priority, right? Hi, Robert. So it's not surprising that that's sort of at the root of it. I think also, I think there's a tendency that men in general have carried that burden at the heart. Through heart attack and through heart disease, although it can, of course, happen with women as well. I know my grandmother died of a heart attack. And it really felt like when she passed, it was like she died of a broken heart, right? So that's the root of heart disease. It's a broken heart. It is, and that broken heart, the vibration of that, the energetic imprint of that gets passed down. Right? Because we learn to love and we have experiences and we learn belief systems and behaviors from our family lines. So, whatever the trauma, and I can think of many, if it's left unresolved, if the trauma goes unresolved, it gets passed down until someone's willing to feel it and to heal it and to release it. Right? And again, it doesn't take like centuries to do this. It can take a couple hours. And you don't even need to know what the story is. You just have to feel it, release it. And that's what we do with transformative art. We do that with painting because it's in the physical body. It can give you that full cellular release of the original trauma. And you don't even need to go into the cognitive experience of it, although your mental body will shift as well. So how does it get passed down? Again, it gets passed down because it goes unhealed. It goes unresolved. And if trauma goes unresolved, it metastasizes, it grows, right? Anything that we deny becomes as a part of ourselves, like our own pain or our own power or some aspect of our personality that we learned, or our uniqueness that we learned was not okay. Like that gets repressed. And ultimately, when you're talking about disease, it metastasizes energetically and it creates blocks and it creates, it just grows. So that's how it gets manifested if it's not addressed. So what can you do to break the cycle? The first thing that we do when doing a karmic release in the karmic alchemy process is we look at the patterns. We look at the patterns as they're showing up on the family line, like, maybe heart disease, and I'm going to be talking about depression and bipolar and anxiety and addiction and alcoholism and betrayal or infidelity or scarcity. These are all the topics I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of days. So each day I'm going to take a different topic. And so you can look at the patterns and identify the patterns. And then what we do is we go into the lesson. What is the lesson? What is, first you have to express the pain. You have to express the energetic imprint and just acknowledge that it's there and bring it out of the shadow, right? Bring it out of the, so perfect we're doing this over Halloween because it's all in Scorpio season. It's all about bringing it out of the shadows. You have to bring it into the light and give it a voice. And then you have to get the lesson, and you have to really get the lesson, meaning, what's the gift, right? What is the gift? What is the lesson? So with heart disease, it's really becoming emotionally responsible. It's, creating emotional flow within your body. It's purifying the heart. It's choosing joy, right? And as a priority and love, and really practicing that, and making different choices than those that walk before you. And again, this is not about blaming your ancestors. This is like, evolutionary wise, the gift that they have set you up for to receive if you choose to take it. And that's the spiritual work. That's the soul work that you're being invited to do. Yeah? Who's with me? Any thoughts about that? Hey, Kim. Hey, Robert. So, what are other gifts of heart disease? Yeah, emotional congruence, joy, emotional flow, and also creativity. So this is a form of what some people would call soul retrieval. It's going back and retrieving that aspect of the soul, of the the creative life force that got trapped in this fragmented, and fragmented off from a sense of wholeness, right? And that got, and reintegrating that so that you can reclaim that creativity, reclaim that life force, and feel the vitality of that. So really the ultimate gift here is a greater expression and experience of love, creativity, of joy, and of vitality, of your own health. And you do have the power to create this. You do have the power to break the cycle. And it does have to work on all the dimensions of your being. Hey, Sam. So that's what I wanted to talk today about, heart disease, and heart attacks and other forms of pain around the heart. It really is, at the ultimate core level, it is a broken heart. And if you have the power to restore that in your lineage, that pattern, that trauma, that is the gift. And with that, you claim back your life force. You claim back this fountain of vitality and love and renewal that only you can give yourself. And it does, I've been doing this work for a couple of years, and it does affect your entire family line. So when you heal it within yourself, you heal it backwards and forwards, and you also break the cycle for your legacy, whether it's your legacy out in the world or it's your legacy with your own children. And I know that's been super powerful in my own experience. So if you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm going to be doing tomorrow, I think I'm going to be talking about depression. And I'll probably add anxiety and maybe bipolar disorder from a clinical perspective and how that gets passed down in families. So you want to tune in. I'm going to be doing this every day for the next 7 days until November 1st. And if you're interested and you want to join me, and I'm just doing the family karmic release, so harvesting the gifts of your ancestors on November 1st. I will add a link above where you can private message me if you want more information about how to join that intensive. It's going to be a 3-hour intensive. It includes some coaching work, ceremony, really powerful process that we will be doing virtually and from here in the studio. So sending you lots of love. Remember to take care of your heart. It is the currency, and it is ultimately, love is the currency in our, in this new earth, right? In this new evolutionary growth cycle. So, be gentle with yourselves. And if you'd like to join me on the 1st, please do. If you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do this work. I want to set myself free from these patterns and I want to be the change. Message me and I will, we can talk about if it's a good fit for you. And also if you want to do a karmic assessment, like if you're like, I'm not so sure, I want to understand what the patterns are in my family line, then message me and we could do a quick call to identify that as well. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks, Sam. Really appreciate you. And please share this with people that could really benefit. If you somebody that has heart disease in your family or somebody else's family, please share this with them, because we do, it's up to us to take responsibility for our health and well-being. And we are really, the tools, this is the new frontier of vibrational medicine. And you do have the power to create massive changes in your own health and well-being and your own expression and your own life experience. I mean, we're talking quantum shifts. So private message me if you're interested and you want to join the intensive on November 1st, on the Day of the Dead or All Saints Day. So lots of love to you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.